I'm so excited to speak today to my friend Mfoniso Udofia, whose play Sojourners we read in book club last month. I love this play so much. And Mfoniso is a storyteller, she's an actor, an educator, and her work centers on Nigerian immigrant life in the United States. Her work includes Sojourners, the play we read, Her Portmanteau, Run Boy Run, and in Old Age, all plays from her projected 9-play Ufot Cycle, which will all be running in Boston starting this November. She works in film and TV as a writer-producer on shows like Little America, Pachinko, A League of Their Own, and Let the Right One In. Mfoniso, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So your 9-play cycle is about to be shown. All 9 plays is going to be shown within a few years. And so what was the inspiration behind the cycle and where does Sojourners fit into it?
So Sojourners is my origin story. It's not the first one I wrote. The first one I wrote is called The Grove. And when I first started writing, it was pretty bad. It wasn't the best play. it wasn't good. And it's one of those things where you're like reading it and you're like, okay, let me say it like this. Every play that I write starts from a question. I'm interrogating something and hoping that I get to an answer. And there was something with The Grove where I was like, yeah, the question is too close to me as a human being, and I can't see story. So Sojourners happened after I wrote that play, which happens to be The Grove. And I was able to lift out and really imagine. And in the imagining, I was able to write stories that were more fulfilling. And so Sojourners became the origin story. And I'm following a matriarch over 100 years, from 1978 to 2078. It's one of the few matriarch-led cycles out there, if any.
Wow.
And I'm asking myself the question on how does an African family, a Nigerian family, build in America? What's lost? What's gained? What are the joys? What's the shredding? What happens to these children? And how can you hold the hope of home within an American living? So I hope that answers the question, but Sojourners is the first of 9. Yeah.
I can't wait to watch them all live. You start the play, you have instructions for the production that are so beautifully written. They're poetic and so specific. There's an example I wrote down. Questions are never rhetorical. Please do not ask questions as if the answer is known. Dare to upward inflect and be vulnerable. So why did you want to be so specific? And how do you approach writing those instructions for production?
Natalie, there have been some people who have been like, they're maniacal. They make me feel nutty. And I don't like you trying to direct from within. But I found that I needed to put them in there. Even though that's not my desire is not to be like that kind of controlling, but like, especially for a sojourner starting in 1978, I don't think we have these kinds of women operating in our day-to-day. They are there, but in our day-to-day anymore. And so I'm trying to capture the innocence too. And sometimes when you flatten a question, there might be a judgment or a knowing that you have, as opposed to going, how are you? Like really wanting to know, going, how are you? Like I know. And so I'm trying to open us up into the innocence of it. A woman who's really asking questions because she does not know. She's lost in a foreign land with in the play with someone, a lover, a husband who is not holding space for her. And this is not a period of time where she can come out with anger. She's really got to figure it out so that when she talks and makes a move, it's a little bit more definitive. So it was important for me to go, what is vulnerability? What is open? What is discovery? What is innocence seeking as opposed to knowing something and
Mhm.
asking a question like you know it? So that's what it is. And it's like something we're practicing in the room right now in Boston, going, what and how does it feel? Because when you are actually asking questions, it opens up a pocket of vulnerability because you need to know the answer. And if the answer is wrong, oh, the obliteration. If the answer is great, oh, the ecstasy.
I
So
love
that,
that. A genuine question, returning to the genuine question.
yeah.
Um, Another one of your notes you write for is a cultural note, and you say, for the Nigerian men, take up space, do not apologize. So, how is it to comment on Nigerian manhood to an American audience?
Hey, that's also an important note. Am I going to say this? Yeah, I will. I think that there's a way in which for Black bodies here, the country, because sometimes it doesn't like you, sometimes because it doesn't hold you, sometimes because you're struggling so hard to make it to the next moment. There can be a shrinking, going, please look at my body as safe. Please look at me as, oh, and it's survival. Let me get into the next moment. Nigeria is a homogenous country where most of the people are going to be of the same color. And because of that, there's not the same fear in the day to day. And so the power center is going to be with those Nigerian men. And they will take up space. They will take up the full space of their bodies without fear. And that's a very different way of walking through the world. And Sojourners is talking about the first time these men are coming in an immigration flow after decolonization. So, especially when you think of the character of Ukpong, the way I envisioned him was walk and taking up so much space because he can, like his like orbit is huge. And by the end of the play, something has happened to him where he's taking up as little space as possible. And so that's what I was trying to depict in physicality, because there sometimes when I saw people performing it early, there would be a restraint. And I'm
Mhm.
like, do not restrain. Allow yourself the totality of your body and love it for as long as you can until the play demands it gets tight.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking character.
Mhm.
You have these two incredible women at the center, Abasiama and
I
Moxie,
love.
and they're both really, truly indelible characters. And they share some experiences, and then they have vastly different experiences at the same time. So, how did you choose to have these two women connect, and what contrast did you want to show between their realities?
For me, they are the soul, the heart of the cycle. And with them, I'm also setting up the problem of the cycle, actually. I think that these two women belong together. This African woman and this Black American woman are absolute soulmates. And I think Abbasiam has coming into this world not understanding a certain kind of thing that can happen in America without care and is seeing it for the first time. And the loss and the abandonment she feels, I do believe she's like, I'm one or two steps away. There's not that much difference. This is my sister. It takes a while. That first scene between them is not nice. And at the end of the play, I think what we're left wanting is that these two women get to be together, and that's not what happens. That's not what happens because I can't have it in 1978. I'm not certain like Black America and Africa itself were like ready to come together in lockstep union. And those are the archetypes those are the big, I have like continents in my mind when I think of these women.
Mm.
And so while there is so much love and they are better together, they can't. And by the end of the cycle, when you get to the play, which is now, it's an opera, Aria and Clara Snatch Joy, you will see the daughter of a Basiyama and a woman with the echo of a Moxie joining together in union. And you're gonna go relief. We have fixed the problem of the cycle, but I had to set the problem up. And people get so mad at me, and I get it. I get it because they belong together. They should be together. But they also need to like, Abasiyama should have called out and fought a little harder, I think. She heard something outside that room.
You have so much humor in your work too. Much of it comes from being a stranger to the culture, like when they try a pickle for the first
Yeah.
time. So, what's your approach to balancing the humor and the drama?
I am not naturally a comedic writer, I don't think. I don't write jokes. It took me a long time to understand a joke too. And one of the running jokes when I was young, running jokes told about me was I didn't know how to play. And I'm like, well, I think I'm better now. But it was
That's
rough.
so sad.
The thing what made it so funny, it was like bink bink, like I guess it doesn't make sense to me, so I'm not unhappy. Um, but I tell people it's like funny by way. It's funny because of how people shred against each other. And like for me, we were just working on this in a rehearsal room. It's like they tell me that Americans, you bring flowers and stuff for cheer. It's something like that is the line. So I brought you the forest. Like it's flat affect. It's just fact, fact, fact in the head, and it ends up being so funny because it's never been put like that. And it's also somebody looking at a culture and just very brass tacks going, this is what they do here. And for us to see her, it's fun. It's funny by way. I'm not thinking about jokes. It's just what it is when you've got people shredding against their opposite in a land that is foreign to them. And I find it organic that way too. And all of the plays exhibit that. They are funnier than you think. And I also think it's necessary because the plays get really tough. We are dealing with um, arranged marriages, neglect, really tough pregnancies, and loss of dreams, loss of dreaming. So a little like, by the way, funny is needed so we can get through those moments.
You have this character disciple who's
Mm-hmm.
so special, and he carves. Can you explain carving and why you wanted to include it in the play?
Yeah. So again, you are asking all the questions that are coming up in a rehearsal room right now. And this split and divided the room as like half the room is like witchcraft. The other half is no, belief can be a kind of magic.
Mhm.
And all I say is yes. I mean, the witchcraft part, I'm like, I understand that people might go there. For me, it is not that. It in the cycle you will find, should I blow this? I will say this, it's not a bad reveal that he was taught a system of belief by his sister in the wreckages of the Biafran War. And
Wow.
you start to see it, or you see it come up in the origin story, and that behavior gets explained in A Run Boy Run, which is play 3. And for him, he comes out of something really, really dark. The Biafran War was very tough, and he was in its center. And so he had to have a kind of belief that he could get into the next moment. If not, right now is literal death around you.
Mm.
And so that is a tool that he's had such a practice with that helps him get into the next moment. And Moxie, who he teaches that to, is a character who is also surrounded by a kind of war around her, and he gives it to her. So it's meant to have a kind of opacity in Sojourners, and you're like, what is that? And why do they believe so hard? And what I'm hoping you take is that life can be so tough that sometimes you just need to say it and carve it out and believe that your next moment is possible. And then later plays, you'll go, that's where it came from.
Beautiful. I love that there's big parts of the play in Ibibio. When you have it performed, will it be translated or will you leave it untranslated?
That's one of my big things. That's one of my big things is we never get to see African languages on stage. And so it's not translated. And for a second, I just want you to hear the rhythm of it. I want you to feel through context clues what might be happening, knowing that hopefully, as the playwright, I've done a strong enough job that you will get the big story.
Mm.
And I just, for a second, I think it's okay if you like have to lean in and go, what's happening? Because like the bodies of my parents still lean in and go, what's going on? For a second, feel what it is to be a little foreign. And I think that's an all right thing. And so, yeah, I usually go no subtitles, no translations. The context clues are enough. You will get the story and hear the language.
I love that. Abasiama's choice at the end is so radical. Obviously, don't want to spoil anything, but why did you want to end the play with that choice?
Abasiam has been watching. And that's the thing. That's the thing sometimes with plays on the read as opposed to the see. Imagine her being ever watchful and she's learning along the way. And I think she's learned some things about her husband, her current husband, she cannot unknow. She's learned some things about the deep unsettling of America, Houston, Texas in 1978, that she cannot unknow, and has made a decision for safety's sake with the thought that she would fulfill a dream and come back and cycle. So I think it's important to keep in mind that she's got in her head a compound. I don't want to blow it either, but she cannot do everything here in America alone.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, I'm so excited to see the cycle in Boston. It starts this November and goes for how 2 years?
2 years. It's
Wow.
2 years. I'm going to be in a constant role, and it'll be Sojourners, and then we move right into the Grove where we zoom 30 years later and see Abasiyama in a house in Massachusetts and ask ourselves how we got here and what things cost.
Thank you so much, Mfoniso. This has been incredible, and I can't wait to see the plays.